Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Duke, and I'm joined today by Christian Gomez, Research Project Manager for the John Birch Society. Christian, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, interesting to stuff it with Super Tuesday yesterday, right? It did turn out to be super interesting, and some big surprises. What are your key surprises from the primary yesterday, now that we've seen all the results?
I think the biggest surprise I have is the biggest surprise that most people are waking up with today, or those who stayed up last night late, how poorly how poorly Michael Bloomberg just flopped. The biggest political blunder ever in American history, for sure.
Well, the funny thing about Bloomberg is that, he had that one chance. If he had nailed it in that one debate, he didn't do all the previous debates. He let all those other candidates, fight it out. If he had walked into that debate and had aced it, I think we'd have an entirely different situation right now. But he had one. He took a big gamble, right? A $500 million gamble, apparently, that he was going to be able to walk in and immediately converse with the remaining candidates on their own level. And it wasn't true. He did not have the practice. He did not have the experience of that down. He'd never really run for national office before either. So I think there's a lot of reasons why that everything depended on that first debate. And when it went sour, he went sour.
Yeah, one of the biggest ironies this morning was when I was reading that how Michael Bloomberg was suspending his campaign and had how endorsed Joe Biden, and right in the middle of that article, there was an ad from the Bloomberg campaign. So I guess this morning we could all mark how we are safe from the Bloomberg advertisement that's been going on around the country.
Given his funds and his resources, the thing that surprises me about Bloomberg jumping off is that right now you've got what everybody pretends is a centrist, Biden. He's not. You look at his policies and you look at the things he talks about. He's coming after your guns, man, in his own words, right? He's going to force all government to do all these things. He's going to have a path for 11 million illegals right away. I don't see what the difference is in the rhetoric of Biden and Bernie, to tell you the truth. And that's where Bloomberg could have come in. You have the so-called moderate Biden. You have Bernie Sanders, the radical lefty. I mean, there's perhaps some thought that as we get closer to November and all the other candidates are gone, that there would be some buyer's remorse from the Democrats. And they might be interested in a brokered convention or somebody like Bloomberg, who isn't nearly as senile as Bernie seems to be becoming, might have been a better option than than Biden down the road.
Yeah, the only reason Bloomberg joined the race was because he saw the weakness in the Biden campaign. And ironically, out of nowhere, Joe Biden is now the superstar lead runner of the Democratic Party, and Bloomberg is yesterday's news.
Well, I made this point again in my other commentary, but I want to make it to you. Everything they say they hate about Donald Trump, the Democrats, they don't like that he's a womanizer. And you've got Biden with all of his groping. They say that Donald Trump is an inveterate racist. Joe Biden is the guy who called Barack Obama an articulate black man and said that you can't walk into a 7-Eleven in Delaware without bumping into an Indian. How many racial gaffes has he had? This is a guy that has profiteered off his political fame. Hello, the Bidens and Joe's sons. The crass talk of Donald Trump. No one talks crasser on the Democrat side than Biden does. So it's a weird thing, isn't it? That you factor in everything they said they hate about the Trump administration, every complaint against Donald Trump the man you can make against Joe Biden. And then you add in something that Donald Trump doesn't suffer from, which apparently is early onset dementia. Because was it just yesterday that Biden came out and confused his wife and his daughter? And he doesn't know where he is half the time. And he doesn't know simple things about his historical narrative. He gets it completely screwed up. He was arrested visiting Mandela. Well, no, he wasn't. And, of course, the media is not calling him on those things.
Yeah, even in his speech on the day of the New Hampshire primary where he did so poorly, he said that he had spoken with and met with the current president of Mexico, and the truth is the current president of Mexico only became president after the Obama-Biden administration ended. And there was a funny headline on the Babylon Bee I saw this morning, but it could be real. You can imagine it, where it says Joe Biden says, "I'm the only candidate who can defeat Ronald Reagan." I mean, I could see Biden saying that.
Well, and the same slurs the Democrats used against Reagan, right? That he was a doddering old man, that he was mentally incapacitated, that he had slipped into his dotage. All of a sudden with Biden, and I'm amazed too, it's not just the Democrats. Everybody dropped out and immediately endorsed Biden. And the only reason I can think of it, I want to hear what you're thinking. My thinking about this is that they all expect really important jobs in a Biden administration. Biden's presidency is going to be a presidency by proxy. I think the Democrats know that he's not fit to serve, that he's not capable of serving. But if all of these opportunistic younger Democrats who now, like Beto's going to be in charge of his gun program, right? That's what they're going to do. This is going to be government by committee. I can't see how the Democrats square this any other way.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, with Amy Klobuchar's endorsement and Beto O'Rourke and
Bloomberg's,
these individuals could probably ask for whatever cabinet position they want, and it seems unlikely that if Biden does win the presidency, assuming he gets the nomination, that he would even serve a full 2 terms of president, even if he wants to pursue a
he
re-election.
said that. He's already promised that he would only serve 1 term, especially if he was in any way not fit for the job in terms of his physical or mental
So
energy.
in reality, Democrats don't even know who they're voting for until the convention.
This is the key. Who's his vice president?
Exactly.
So if you're Joe Biden, and given that Bernie, right now the 2 remaining candidates are white males, right? And in a field dominated by Democrat white males. If you're Bernie Sanders, you got to weigh something. If you're Joe Biden, you got to weigh some things. Do you want to make a pick for politically correct reasons? Do you want an African-American woman? Do you want somebody who's gay like Buttigieg? Do you make a decision like that? Or do you make a decision with the idea that in less than 4 years, maybe even 2 years, maybe even a year in, you're going to have to cede most of the presidency to your vice president? At that point, would you consider Hillary Clinton
as his running mate?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to pick Hillary Clinton as his running mate. There's always been sort of a little rivalry between Biden and Hillary. He'll probably pick someone a little less ambitious, but a younger, fresher face because he wants to be the star of that ticket. Does he have that star power? I don't think so.
Well, would among Democrats, would Hillary really hurt the ticket? If they get their Joe Biden and dodge the Bernie bullet, wouldn't it make some of the more worried Democrats about Biden a little less worried if you know that you've got somebody who they believe has all this experience and know-how?
Well, to Biden's credit versus Hillary, at least Biden has been vice president for 8 years, so he's got more experience than Hillary Clinton.
Does he remember any of it?
That's a good point.
Experience only counts
if you can remember it.
If you can sum it up, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, who would, if we were trying to pick a running mate for Biden from the perspective that this person has to be presidentially ready from day one, who would you pick?
I don't know who Biden is going to pick, but if I had to guess who he might pick, I would guess Kamala Harris. When Obama picked Biden as his running mate, that was a little bit of a surprise because he came out almost nowhere in the 2008 Democratic primary, and Kamala Harris dropped out very early. She's female, she's a woman of color, African American. Those are things that play well for them. Also, Biden's from Delaware, Kamala Harris from California. It adds a nice geographic balance to the ticket. But because she's from California, that doesn't add a lot.
No.
I mean, they're going to win that state
That's my
regardless.
point. I don't think it's Kamala because you saw in her primary races, she couldn't even get her own state behind her. So she wouldn't have to win California for Biden, but she couldn't win California when she was running herself. And consequently, she's just too much of a lightweight, and she carries a lot of baggage with her. And I'm not sure that she's going to really up the vote among African Americans, right? Those African Americans who are committed to the Democrat Party are going to vote for him. I don't think Kamala is going to say, hey, I was going to vote for Trump, but now that she's on the ticket, I'm going to go for it. I think he's going to have to go for somebody who is younger, like you said, but also competent. And the problem is, if you want to make that somebody female, I don't see her. Warren's not the answer. Klobuchar's not the answer. I think, honestly, the one thing he can do to shake it up a little bit is possibly tap Buttigieg. He's young, he's energetic, he's well-spoken, he's also gay, and there are a lot of women who would settle for a gay man if they can't have a woman.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a strong possibility. It would be interesting to have two Indiana, two Hoosiers as the vice presidential candidates. It would be interesting to watch that debate.
It would. Middle America. It'll be very interesting. All I know that Super Tuesday has come and gone. Looks like we may even be headed to a brokered convention. Bernie's going to continue to win some states. Biden's got the lead right now, but I don't know that if it's a completely unsurmountable lead. Your final thoughts about where we're going to be in the convention in a couple months?
I think at this point that Vice President Biden has it sealed for him because what gave Bernie the advantage before Super Tuesday was the so-called moderate split between all those many candidates who have now dropped out of the field and now endorsed Biden. Without that split, in fact, you have Elizabeth Warren splitting the progressive vote. So I think this time going forward, I think Biden has the nomination secured.
Christian Gomez, John Birch Society, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.